guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids. I currently have a 5th grader, 3rd grader, and pre-K-er. In today's video, I am reviewing a unit study that we just completed. We have just completed the Poppy Language Arts unit from Moving Beyond the Page. I have been sharing lots about Moving Beyond the Page. It is becoming one of my favorite curriculums, if not my favorite curriculum to use. Right now we're using it as one-off standalone unit studies. I have an entire playlist, so if you want to learn more about Moving Beyond the Page, how it works, and some other unit studies that we did, the playlist is linked down below. Today's video, I'm going to be specifically talking about this unit. So this unit, we actually did the digital unit. So with Moving Beyond the Page, you can either buy the physical unit or the digital unit. The digital unit is more cost effective, especially if you have a kid, because in Moving Beyond the Page, there's always like activity pages that your kids will need. If you buy the hard copy, you only get one of those activity pages. If you buy the digital, you get the PDF and print as many as you need for your family. So the digital is a little bit cheaper. It's just hard for me to get used to because using the physical units for so long. So the digital guide, everything you need is online. So I log on as the teacher and my teacher guide for each lesson is online. So all the information is the same. It walks you step by step what to tell your kids, how the activities work, what they need to read, the discussion questions, the answers. It's just all online. So I did get in the habit of just having my iPad out at our homeschool table and I would just log in. Their website is absolutely seamless. So it looks the exact same from my desktop computer to my cell phone to my iPad. It, formats correctly. It's easy to use, easy to check off. So once I got in that habit of having my iPad, logging onto that, it did make the lessons a little bit easier. I still think I prefer the physical units, but I do like the cost savings aspect and the ability to print the PDFs for the student pages. So there's definitely pros and cons to each of those. But with this unit, it is a language arts unit. So they have units that are social studies related, science, language arts. So this one is going along with the book Poppy. This is actually part of a series and I want to say this is book 2. There's no issue with that. We hadn't read the first book in this series, so it's not like I think you were missing anything, but my kids absolutely loved this story to where they want to read the other books. So I would recommend, if you know your kids like animals and really good stories, I would read the first one and then jump into this one. That's just my opinion. So Poppy is a book about a little deer mouse, and where she lives in the forest, there is an owl, basically controls the mice. He tells them, he's protecting them. There's really dangerous things out in the forest and he is protecting them, but they have to obey him and listen to them. So this story has a lot of themes of power and control and knowledge. And so the discussion questions that were paired up with this reading were absolutely amazing. The storyline, the theme, the characters, it's an absolutely amazing story. This book says on the back of the actual book that it is for ages 8-12. There are, I think, 18 chapters, and there's 20 chapters, 160 pages. You are reading 2 chapters, I believe, a lesson. My kids were spending about 20 minutes reading. I did do this unit with both of my daughters, so my 5th grader, my 3rd grader. My 5th grader was flying through reading these chapters, flying through all the assignments. My 3rd grader was going at a normal pace. So I knew that going into this book and the unit. The unit is 7 to 9, which I believe is their 3rd grade level equivalent from Moving Beyond the Page. I knew it was low level for my 5th grader. So yes, the reading, she was a lot quicker than my 3rd grader at. The activities, she finished a little bit quicker, but they still both loved this story and loved this unit. I want to say this is probably one of their favorite units that they've ever done. So I'm going to go through some of the activities that we did throughout the unit. I have all my kids' papers that I'm going to kind of remind me because I don't have that physical copy of the teacher's guide. I can't really show you, so I'm just going to talk through some of it. The very first lesson, I don't even think you start reading the book. Your kids are doing research on both a deer mouse and I think horned owl, because those are the two main characters in the book. So because I was having two kids do it, instead of them both researching both animals, one researched the mouse and one researched the owl. I really like that they kind of laid out like what you need to research, because telling a kid to go research something online, one, that's always not the safest thing, and there's just an overwhelming amount of information. So this kind of tells them, okay, look at their habitat, their food source, predator, shelter size, any other facts, and draw a picture. And then my other daughter did the same thing for the owl, and then they went ahead and shared with each other what they researched and found. So in the beginning of this unit, there were a lot of activities that were very geared towards younger kids, in my opinion, even younger than my third grader. So like this one, it's just kind of like a blank picture saying draw different forest animals. My kids like drawing, but at this point, like it just seemed a little bit like busy work for them. There were a lot of these like little puppet activities where you would make like a mouse puppet, an owl puppet. And I mean, they have it all laid out for you, like with the cutouts and stuff, but my kids were just not into it. My pre-K-er, I think, would have enjoyed those activities more. So those we did not complete. They just seemed a little young. This is a language arts unit, so there are going to be elements of language arts, including grammar, writing, reading, obviously. One of the activities was working on combining sentences and using conjunction. And so they would give them like two kind of short sentences, and they would need to combine them to make a complex sentence. So there are times too where there's two different options for the same activity. So it's the exact same like instructions, but the difficulty is a little bit different. So my third grader was completing the first option, and my older fifth grader would be doing the second option, which is just a little bit more challenging, and that worked out really great for them. There was a lot of focus on writing in this unit. They learned how to formulate paragraphs, so like that, like completing complex sentences, moved on to paragraphs, and then I think they actually wrote an essay at the end of this unit as well. Now, if you're starting this unit and your kids have no idea how to take sentences and turn them into paragraphs, you're going to need something supplemental. My kids have been writing, 3-paragraph essays for at least 2 years now, so this wasn't new information to them. But if this was brand new, if they had never seen how to separate writing into paragraphs and then turn that into a whole paper, you would definitely need some supplemental stuff in there. So the next thing that we did was learning how to kind of separate out paragraphs. And what I really liked about this is there's a passage here where they worked on, but they would actually reference you back to the book. Like, look how this author took all this information and broke it into paragraphs. Like, and they would show examples, or have your kids go look at those examples of how the paragraph started, how they ended the paragraph, how a paragraph began. So I really liked that, as like they were reading this book and they could understand like why was the book flowing so well, because the author was in proper paragraphs. So this one, basically it's a whole long text, and they need to separate out where new paragraph should be, where are the topic sentence, where are the sentences. So I did really like this, but there was not a whole ton of information on it. So my kids just kind of already know how to do that. So it wasn't a huge deal for us. The next activity was cause and effect. And so we were learning, if a character does this, what happened because of that. And so that was kind of fun. Ties in things that happened in the story. Your kids really have to think. We also were learning synonyms and antonyms, which was really great. My third grader needed a review on that for sure. And so there was a couple different activities on synonyms and antonyms. There was an activity on choosing the right word to convey like your message. So the example, Emily loudly and angrily blank the door closed, and they give you some options. So did she shut the door? You could say that, but what's going to be the best word? So she slammed the door or she pushed the door. So that was really fun. That I think ties into just normal communicating, normal writing, to be able to really be like, what message am I trying to convey? What feeling am I trying to put out there? They wrote a Diamante poem. I'm not sure what that is. This one was weird. I've never even heard of this poem, but they broke it out really well in their example for them to create, but that one was okay. That wasn't one of my favorite activities. We learned about alliterations, and you know, they had to find some in the book. They had to make up their own, so that was really fun. They made like character circle maps. So there's a lot of focus on the characters in this story, and you know, maybe the choices the characters are making, how these characters act. And so your kids are really like analyzing these characters throughout this entire unit. There was a crossword puzzle, a porcupine puppet, which again, this was one of those things that I just felt was too young for my kids, so we did not do that. We learned about prefixes and suffixes, which we do a separate kind of curriculum. We do word roots, where my kids are learning like the meaning of root words, prefixes, suffixes. So this was fun. That was tied in. I will say though, again, my kids have experience with prefixes and suffixes and root words. So this was very easy for us to just complete because we had that prior knowledge. If you don't have that prior knowledge, I don't know that this would be so easy to jump into again. So again, it's hard because we're not using units like in the order intended or like following the year of curriculum. So I don't know, like, have they explained these you know, in more basic steps before in different units? Probably. But that's the only kind of, I want to say, risk you take of just kind of picking and choosing standalone units, is that your child may not understand one of these concepts and there's not always a ton of detail to teach it. So you may have to, you know, spend some extra time, look up some YouTube videos to make sure your kids understand those concepts. We had an exercise taking words and adding either ed or ing on to the words, and like what the rules are. Like, do you need to double some consonants? Do you need to move a letter? So that was fun. There's a couple, like, I don't even know what this tree is, to be honest. I don't remember why we didn't do that. It was probably because it was just, it seemed like busy work, and I don't just want to give stuff to my kids for busy work. The plot diagram. So the only thing I will say is this was, so normally in Moving Beyond the Page units, in your first lesson, there's normally something like an activity that you do throughout the entire unit. So like you would refer back to this every lesson and add something. So this is a plot diagram. We're diagramming out the story. And I didn't like read into it enough or figure out like we needed to start this in the beginning. And so we didn't do it, but we did talk about like the climax, the resolution, antagonist, protagonist. There was a lot of like vocabulary or fantasy type books, fantasy elements of a book. So this was all in discussion. I just didn't read the directions clear enough and just simply missed this, and that was my bad, but it's in there. And I don't think it's bad. I didn't intentionally skip it. I don't know what happened. In Moving Beyond the Page units as well, there are always like a end of unit project, and we've done quite a few units from them. The projects have never been the same. So this project, there was 2 tic-tac-toe boards. One was heavily focused on language arts. So all the activities were very like vocabulary, writing, prefixes and suffixes, like really going back on those terms. And the other one was more kind of just creative type things. So they had to pick 3 from each. So 6 things in total. On the language one, it's like use 6 vocabulary words and sentences. So that was not hard. Add ing to 3 verbs, add ed to 3 verbs. So this one was super simple. This one, it wasn't hard either, but these are a little bit more intense. So you can write a poem, you can write a song, make up a dance, create like a little house for the mouse, throw a party for Poppy and like plan the Poppy, make a journal entry. So just fun little activities that I thought that was really cute, kind of like a little option board. I don't know why I forgot this, because it was like one of the very first lessons. Maybe it was lesson 3, I believe. We got to dissect owl pellets. So even though this was a language arts unit, as you saw in the very beginning, we researched animals. So that to me is very in the, you know, realm of science. And then we did dissect owl pellets. So we read about it because in the book there's a reference made to owl pellets. And then I want to say they link a video for you to watch on YouTube more about owl pellets. And then you can either buy a kit for them. I already had owl pellet kits from Nature's Workshop Plus, so we dissected them. I will add some pictures here. I remember doing it, I think, in school. I don't remember being super grossed out, but I was pretty grossed out. My third grader was also absolutely disgusted, and it was funny because she loves school and she does school for fun. Like, she just eats up everything. This is the only time I've seen her completely like disgusted and disengaged with an activity. She was not having a great time. She thought it was horrible. My older daughter absolutely loved it, and what actually worked out is my older daughter got a really good owl pellet. It had like full skeletons in it. The owl pellets we had came with like a little like dissection map. I don't know if that's the right word, dissection map, but it had where you could lay out, like, so if you knew you found a skull and all of those things. And so that was part of it. So again, that's very like science. So something about Moving Beyond the Page units is they cross over into other subjects all the time. Really like real life type stuff is happening, great discussions, really fun, a variety of things, and I felt really great about this unit. My kids loved the book. We loved most of the activities besides those, you know, kind of like puppets and stuff, but honestly we never do all the activities anyways. Every lesson you have like 3 activities to choose from. We normally don't always do all 3 activities. It's just overkill. I choose the ones that I think are going to be the most beneficial, so that was totally fine. I don't feel bad because we didn't use every single thing in the unit. That's not how we use the unit. So overall, we love this unit. It was really fun. If you have kids that like animals, highly recommend this unit. The story is great. All the activities were really, really fun. So this is, again, another unit we just absolutely loved by Moving Beyond the Page. So if you want to learn more about Moving Beyond the Page, again, I have a playlist down below. I always do a video once we finish a unit. Both of my daughters are actually working independently on 2 units right now. That's kind of a change we made recently. Instead of doing units together, they're doing them separate just to get them more at age appropriate levels individually. So I'll have double the amount of reviews coming out for them because they'll be completing 1 each. So if you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about this unit or about Moving Beyond the Page, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye, guys.